30,000 plus are here at Riverside International Raceway. And what is known as the Inland Empire. This is the area here of Southern California. It's a bit hazy, but the skies are somewhat clear above the smog here near LA. Temperature around 80 degrees. The cars, 37, are poised and set to go. Yesterday, we spoke with a gentleman that has operated this track for a number of years, Les Richter.
Well, they see Grand National Stock Car Racing in a different form, and it's exciting for the people that have been raised on it, and it's interesting to those people in the South to come out here to see their good old boys and their stars and their favorites run a course where they have to shift up and down, turn right and left, and it makes it exciting when you consider that oval racing is drafting. Here it is a lot of skill of shifting and braking and being able to figure out what you're going to do in the next turn. So Riverside has a lot of my heart in it, and it's going to be a great race today, and we're really delighted that we have these two races here at Riverside.
Les Richter, a gentleman that really loves racing dearly. Before he played professional football, he said he used to watch the midgets run up at Fresno, California. He came into this facility in 1960 and has improved it constantly and brought the Winston Cup Grand National cars to the West Coast. As we scan around the track and see this beautiful 9-turn facility, it's a beautiful road course, 2.62 miles in length. Today they'll be running 95 laps, 248.9 miles, which calculates out to be 400 kilometers. Standing by in the pit area is the gentleman who will be covering the action down there on the pit lane, Pat Patterson.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a gorgeous afternoon down here in the pit area, a blur of color. A real spectacle for everyone to see as we're in sunny Southern California getting ready for the start of this Budweiser 400 race. Today on the starting grid, you have all your cars ready at this time. The drivers are getting into the cars, getting strapped in. The crew chiefs are preparing to make sure the final details of this race are getting ready to run. Darrell Waltrip on the pole here at Riverside. On the outside, Tim Richmond. As we get ready for the start, the final things are being laid down so that we can get this race underway.
Hey, we're going to make a pit stop, and we'll be right back with more racing action from Riverside International Raceway right after this.
Well, the field is set down below. 37 cars are set to go to tackle this 9-turn road course. Starting on the pole position, in position number 1, Darrell Waltrip, the Pepsi Challenger Chevrolet at 116.421 miles per hour. He's won the last 6 of the 8 poles here at Riverside. On the outside, front row, it's car number 27, Tim Richmond. He's out of Mooresville, North Carolina, originally from Ashland, Ohio. He's in a Pontiac of Raymond Beadle, 115.925 miles per hour. Starting third in the Budweiser Chevrolet out of Trinity, North Carolina, is Terry Labonte in car number 44, 115.003 miles per hour. The front 3 starters all broke the old track record set last year by Waltrip at 114.419 miles per hour. Starting fourth on the field is Ricky Rudd out of Chesapeake, Virginia in the Piedmont Airlines Chevrolet at 114.806 miles per hour. Fifth on the grid is car number 88, Jeff Bodine, Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, originally from Chemung, New York, in a Pontiac at 114.753 miles an hour. Sixth on the grid is Handsome Harry Gant, protege to Hal Needham and Burt Reynolds in car number 33. He's out of Taylorsville, North Carolina, in the Skull Bandit Buick. Seventh on the grid, Jim Bound, Portland, Oregon, in the Wholesale Truck Parts Buick, 114.135 miles per hour, his qualifying speed in car 96. Eighth is the all-time winner in NASCAR, Richard Petty, Randall, North Carolina, the STP Pontiac, number 43, 113.921 miles an hour. Ninth on the grid is car number 98, Joe Ruttman, in a Pontiac. 10th is car 22, Bobby Allison, in a Buick. 11th is car 75, Neil Bonnet, in a Chevrolet, sponsored by Warner Hodgson from out here in California. 12th on the grid is car 71, Dave Marcus, out of Skyland, North Carolina. 13th is Morgan Shepherd, in the car that won both races last season here at Riverside, the Stacy Buick. 14th on the grid is Rick McRae, Bloomington, California, in car 08. It's a Pontiac. 15th on the grid is car number 15, Dale Earnhardt, Mooresville, North Carolina, in a Ford. 16th on the grid is 64, Randy Becker, Highlands, California, in a Buick. 17th on the grid is car 73, Bill Schmidt, Redding, California, in the Mountain Dew Chevrolet. 18th on the grid is car 04, Herschel McGriff, Bridal Veil, Oregon, the oldest driver in the field at 55 years of age. 19th is car 9, bridesmaid but never a bride, Bill Elliott, always finishing second 6 times in the last 2 years. He's out of Dawsonville, Georgia. He's in a Ford. 20th on the grid is Dick Brooks in car 90 out of Albemarle, North Carolina, in a Ford. 21st is car 78, Jim Robinson, North Hollywood, California, in an Oldsmobile. 22nd is car number 51, Scott Miller, Garden Grove, California, in a Pontiac. 23rd is car 7, Kyle Petty, the son of Richard Petty, in a Pontiac. 24th is Don Waterman out of Portland, Oregon, in a Pontiac, car number 38. 25th on the grid is car 13, Stephen Wheeler, Bakersville, California, in a Buick. 26th is 03, Glenn Francis, in a Pontiac out of Bakersville, California also. 27th is car number 70, J.D. McDuffie, the tough independent, out of Sanford, North Carolina, in a Pontiac. 6th on the grid is D.K. Ulrich, Harrisburg, North Carolina, in a Buick. 29th is car 66, Ron Esau, Lakeside, California, in a Buick. Starting 30th, Sterling Marlin, currently leading the points for Rookie of the Year honors in a Pontiac car 17. 31st on the grid is Trevor Boys out of Alberta, Canada, in the James Hilton Chevrolet, car number 48. 32nd on the grid, Ronnie Thomas, Christiansburg, Virginia, in a Pontiac car 41. 33rd is car 52, Jimmy Means, Forest City, North Carolina, in a Chevrolet. 34th on the grid is car number 67, Buddy Arrington, out of Martinsville, Virginia. 35th on the grid is Bob Kennedy, car 94, in the Ehrlich Motors Chevrolet. We'll be back to Riverside, California, in 1 minute. Flagman is standing by. He's ready. The green waves. They charge down towards turn 1. Your early leader is Darrell Waltrip. He was expected to jump out front and take a lead. The second place runner will be Tim Richmond. Going third will be Ricky Rudd. The fourth place runner is Terry Labate. They come through the S's. Right now they're in third gear, coming up through this portion of the course. Coming up to turn 6. This is the outside retaining wall. It's kind of unique. We'll explain it to you a little later. Waltrip dives over to the inside, apexes the corner perfectly. He heads down the short chute now, making his way towards turn 8. He works the outside of the track, covers down very well, apexes the corner beautifully now, moves over to the left-hand side of the track. He's going down the long back straightaway, 3,000 feet before he gets to the dog leg, 4,000 feet for the entire distance. Coming under the bridge, there's a bump right there. All these cars will feel the effects of that. As the suspensions get softer, some of these cars will actually bottom out. They're running single file, coming through the dog leg. Waltrip now stretches out his lead. Waltrip by 5 car lengths. Now we see the 27 car, Richmond, trying to make a bid, gets into the corner and breaks late, tries to draw up onto the rear bumper of the number 11 car. The 2-time national champion is back to the stripe. Darrell Waltrip, car 11. Richmond second, Rudd is third. Labate runs fourth. 5th place runner Jeff Bodine. 7th Harry Gant. 8th on the field is Richard Petty, and he's being challenged by Bobby Allison as they go back through the S's. Coming through the S's, they are running the perfect line here. It's very difficult to pass during this portion of the track. Richmond rolls out to the outside. Richmond made a dive. We have a car on the pit lane, and that's Neil Bonnet. Bonnet obviously has a problems with the inside tires here at the track, which are on the right rather than on the left. He's in the pits now, an early pit stop. Another car in. Car number 96 is also into the pit area. The 96 car in early. Sterling Marlin also in. 96 is Jim Bound, who started up front. He was one of the quicker West Coast drivers to qualify in the race. Bonnet is back out of the pits. Bonnet in early. Bonnet scraped the retaining wall somewhere on the course, and with the problems, he had to report into the pit area. Waltrip takes it into turn number 9. He's being challenged now as Ricky Rudd has moved up onto the rear bumper of Tim Richmond. Richmond and Rudd wanting to run right onto that rear bumper as they come back onto the main straightaway here at the start-finish line. Waltrip now drags them along. They're actually in a draft at the present time. Richmond cocks the hammer on the automobile, runs up very close. He's within a car length. He's within striking distance on Waltrip. into turn 2. And Richmond puts it off into the dirt, moves out of the line momentarily. They move now through the upper portion of the S's, moving towards turn 6. Moving into the quarter, Waltrip is being shadowed very closely by Richmond. And Rudd, Labonte runs very safely, 2 car lengths back. Richmond is really trying to get within striking distance of Waltrip, but Waltrip keeps covering down as much as he possibly can. He uses up a lot of racetrack as he goes onto that long back straightaway.
Bill, watch for Richmond to make a move at the end of the chute here. It looks like he's trying to make maybe a pass at the end of the chute under braking. That's his favorite place on this track to pass.
Well, the long back straightaway, 4,000 feet long, and you don't have to back off to go through that dog leg at the entrance to turn 9. Look at Rudd. Rudd makes the move. Rudd is down to the inside of Tim Richmond. Richmond almost pushes him off into the dirt. He gets the better of the 2 lines there, moves Richmond high to the outside. They'll fade out to that outside wall as they come out of turn 9. And Ricky Rudd in car number 3 has moved into second place. And an exchange for position. For Richmond, he'll have to settle for third momentarily. Terry Labonte will continue to run in 4th place, and Jeff Bodine is now up to 5th. Bodine on the charge in his Pontiac. Junior Johnson says that Bodine is due to win anytime. It could come this afternoon here in the Budweiser 400. Certainly the car that's out front right now and apparently is going to dominate these opening laps unless he's challenged by Ricky Rudd is Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip's bright yellow and white car, introduced this year in New York at the end of last season when they had the Winston Cup points dinner up there. And it was a swanky affair. Brought this brand new color scheme into NASCAR racing after racing several years with a green and white car. And Waltrip takes him down that long back straightaway. As they come under the bridge, Ricky Rudd may very well set himself up to make that pass just as he did last lap on Richmond. Now he dives down to the inside. Down to the inside. Hits the inside speed bumps, washes out just a little bit, slides a little high, but he covers down so well. Waltrip falls to second place. We've got a new leader here in the Budweiser 400. It's Ricky Rudd, still looking for his first victory on the NASCAR Winston Cup Tour. The Chesapeake, Virginia driver is in front in the Richard Childress prepared car, number 3. We're going to take a look once again at Ricky Rudd passing Darrell Waltrip right now. Lauren, you can tell he's coming in there. He's coming in very hot. He goes by the braking markers on the outside of the track and he dives in. Look at him.
That's very, very difficult. Nice move. It's awfully early in the race for that kind of racing, wouldn't you think, Bill?
Well, obviously he's calling on his past go-kart racing experience. He used to race go-karts a long time ago before he came into Grand National Racing. But he's got the Piedmont Airlines pacemaker in the lead right now. And he rolls out of turn 9, takes it out against that outside retaining wall, angles the car back over towards the start-finish line, right by Harold Kinder, the flagman, dives into turn number 1.
We'll be back with more racing from Riverside International Raceway right after this.
A little earlier today, we had the opportunity to ride around this famed facility with Joe Ruttman and Pat Patterson.
We're going to take the folks at home for a ride around the racetrack with Joe Ruttman. This is a 2.62-mile road course. Joe, we're heading for the start-finish line. Tell me what's going through your mind.
Well, right here, you're trying to gear up for the bridge area of the track, which is a real tricky area. You've just shifted from 3rd into 4th. You're running probably in the neighborhood of 85 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. You want to hold the line extremely tight here as you come up over the bridge. Hold the car in as close to the barrier as possible, and you let the car float out. Obviously, we had some barriers here, which does not occur during the race time. We'd run over this poor guard here if that would be the case. So at this point, you'd be gathering the car back up to the extreme left of the course, and there's some white stripes on the track, which denotes braking and shifting points for you to relate to. This is one shift point. Another shift point here. If you're working good, you'd be back into 3rd gear right here. You'd be running for the low side of the track, the ripple strips to the right, and picking up power at this point. And the car, centrifugal force of the car, the way the car is taking to the outside of the course here, a lot of dirt. You want to stay away from the dirt because that's not the thing to be playing on right now. You hold the car in extremely tight to the left here because you're coming up on an extremely blind corner here, and you're really concerned about objects that might be in front of your race car at this point.
How fast are we going, Joe?
We're running probably right now, we're probably in the neighborhood of 100 miles an hour and gathering speed at all times. We're running in third gear, and you want to hold that line extremely tight. You're back to the left side of the course now. You want to hit the ripple strips on the left. And now your major concern is you're looking at turn 6. You got a tight line back to the right again here. And I would think that at this point is probably the toughest part of the course coming up here as you hit this last set of ripple strips here on the right. You're on the brakes extremely hard. We're pulling the car down to about 65 miles an hour at the top of the hill. We're coming back into second gear. The ripple strips on the left, extreme left. We let the car stay to the left, so we got a good motion around the turn 6. You hit those ripple strips on the right here. You're starting to pick the power back up because this is an extremely critical area right here. You lose the car here and you're going to be in the guardrail. As you pull off this part of the course, you get just a little bit of roller coaster effect. You're downhill and the car is accelerating extremely good. You're heading toward extremely flat corner ahead, and you're still in second gear at this point. You're turning the engine at maximum RPM somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,500 RPM. If the crew chief doesn't realize you're turning that many RPM, you jam the brakes on here extremely hard here, and you fly on the extreme right-hand side of the course to pick up the ripple strips in this area, and you're starting to pick up power, and it's still remaining in second gear. And as you power off of this corner here, you're still in second. You jump to the left side of the course here and hit the ripple strips here on the left, and now you feed the car back to the right-hand side of the course, and you're talking RPM of 7,500, 8,000, and you'd probably hit third gear right in this area.
Okay, when you're going back down through the back chute right now, do you notice anything? Is this a chance for you to take a break, from the lap that you're running?
No, you really don't. You'd like to think so. Obviously, this tape is run at approximately 30 miles an hour. This part of the track right here, we're probably approaching 120 miles an hour. Just as we get to the bridge, we're probably at 155. So obviously, you got your mind on your business because now you've shifted the car into third gear. You're watching attack because you don't want to over-rev the engine. And in this area here, you pull the car into high gear, and now you're gathering up maximum speed as you head underneath the bridge area.
Is this the best place to pass someone?
Picking up a draft right here. The bump causes you a little bit of trouble, but you're going to try to pick up a draft. Hopefully you're leading, but say you're running second or third, you're trying to pick up a draft and shoot by the guy here at the bridge. You got to be careful now because we got to be at the extreme right-hand side of the course because there's a dog leg coming up here. It's wide open if you're running good. These are just relation points. On the left-hand side of the screen, there's the white area that you're picking up on, and you have to be extremely tight here as you break around the dog leg. And the numbers on the left denote what you can do with your car. If you got a poor handling car, you're going to back off here at 4. If you got a better handling car, you're going to come down to 3. And the guys that's really brave might get down to 2. I've never seen 2 before, but you're on the brakes extremely hard. You run 170 mile an hour. You stand on the brakes. You get down to approximately 1 here, and you're back into third gear, which helps deaccelerate the car some more. And at this point, you're trying to negotiate the turn at the extreme bottom of the track here. Kick up a little dust, cause the guy a little bit of trouble behind you if you can. It makes the course a little slicker. And I would say at this point here, as you enter the Budweiser signs you're trying to pick up, obviously you're not thinking of Budweiser, but you're picking up speed right here. And this is the longest period of time you're into a corner. This is the most critical part of the course you run on because you're in the corner so long. And obviously you come to the outside here and you're a little concerned because now you're setting to the outside of the car and you're close at this Winston sign. You're about 6 inches away from the guardrail yourself, so you're a little concerned. And now you're looking at the start-finish line, and you're moving over toward the right-hand side of the course here, and you're picking up fourth gear just about the start-finish line before you come back up over the bridge.
Think you can get the checkered flag that the guy's going to throw?
Well, that's what it's all for. That's the first guy. That's a stripe right there. That's the most important aspect of it. If you have a little trouble, you pull off the course like this, and you explain to the mechanics maybe what happened.
Okay, thanks, Joe Ruttman.
Well, Joe Ruttman, unfortunately, spun out to bring out this yellow flag, and he gave Pat Patterson a tour of the track earlier today here at Riverside, California. The last 4 winners of this particular event have been Tim Richmond, Darrell Waltrip, and Bobby Allison. So Waltrip winning 2 of the last 4 of these races, and Allison and Richmond sharing the other. We'll be back right after this at Riverside, California, in the Budweiser 400. Well, this is the 9th lap of caution here at Riverside International Raceway. A rather lengthy caution, Lauren, being caused by the track breaking up in 2 turns of the road course at turn 6 and turn 8. This was newly resurfaced in the last several months here. And on Friday night and Saturday night, after practice and qualifying, they brought the construction company back in here to patch the area that was breaking up over the last several days under the pressure of these Grand National racing cars.
This is one of the serious problems with new pavement, and I understand that this was just paved 2 days ago, Bill. These are the heaviest cars that Les Richter has here that run on the cars on this pavement. Most of the cars, such as sports car racing or IndyCar, will weigh 1,800 pounds up to 2,400 pounds. Here we have a car racing around that weighs 3,700 pounds, maybe a gross weight of close to 4,000 pounds. And so it takes, with the heat of the sun, the fresh asphalt, and the heaviness of the cars, we get this breakup of asphalt. Very dangerous, very slippery, broken windshields, cut tires, etc.
Well, they're passing through the area right now that they're having that problem in. Bodine, 88, the leader. Harry Gant runs second in 33. Then Ricky Rudd, Bobby Allison, and then Terry Labonte in fifth. And Terry's got a small problem.
Yes, I understand that they interviewed Dale Inman, and he said it was a slight oil leak that only appeared when he made the transition from a left to a right, like through the S's, and that it's not a major leak. It will be only minor, and it just puffs out a little smoke at certain times. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if, in fact, it does stay as a minor leak.
Well, we spoke with Bobby Allison, the driver of car number 22, who's running up there in the top 5 at the present time. If Riverside posed any special problem here?
Well, I like the track. Riverside's unusual for us. It's a road course. We normally run the high bank ovals back in the southeast and other parts of the country, but I consider it a kind of a pleasant change of pace. I look forward to it, and I've had some success here. I like the place.
Bobby Allison is well known for his short track endeavors. Bobby, are you still putting in a lot of time racing all the different tracks across the nation?
Well, I really do enjoy that, and I get to meet a lot of the fans firsthand by doing it. It's been something that's just been part of my life for lots and lots of years, and I'm still doing a lot of it.
Strategy for Bobby Allison when it comes down to the green flag. Where do you hope to be tomorrow?
Well, I'm qualified back a little further than I'd like. I know it's going to be kind of a struggle to try to get up front, but up front's where we got to be, so our strategy is already kind of mapped out for us. We're going to have to try to move forward.
Well, for Bobby Allison, who races all across the country, sometimes he races 4 or 5 times a week, flies his own airplane to those short tracks to put in appearances, and he always puts on a good show for the fans, and he always has time for the fans following those races. He's such a strong-hearted competitor, but yet he's not been able to capture a Grand National Championship. The one thing that has perhaps eluded him more than any other quest he's gone after in his entire career. He's presently has 1,881 points. He's leading in the Western Cup points chase, 185 points in front of Richard Petty. He started racing back in 1961. He's won over $4 million in career earnings.
That's a real credit to his driving ability. And another thing about Bobby, you mentioned he travels all over the country. He flies into small tracks and makes appearances. And I think that's one of the reasons that he has been voted year after year as the most popular driver in Grand National racing. Certainly a credit to the hard work and the love of the sport that he had.
This is Bobby Allison. We'll be back at Riverside in 1 minute.
Well, the green flag was thrown for the cars over at turn 8 as they came onto that long straightaway. We see Harry Gant fighting off the challenge of Ricky Rudd as they come through turn number 9, which is a reverse running order through this quarter, as what they're normally accustomed to. Normally they would run the other way through the banking. This time it's a reverse type of environment. 88 goes by. He's your leader, Bodine. Bodine has led practically every race he has run so far this season. Harry Gant pulls into his slipstream as they go through the S's. Ricky Rudd runs in 3rd place. And Bobby Allison holds down 4th. Terry Labonte continues to run 5th. Richard Petty in the 43 car, the Pontiac, he's in the hunt. And Herschel McGriff, the old-timer, 55 years old, is running right there in the top 10 and is probably set to challenge. Like we said earlier, he won the Grand American race, which was run as a prelude to this event here this afternoon.
What a great warm-up for him. And Herschel, anytime he gets up that close, I know Herschel would dearly love to come here and take this away from the good old boys. And there's no victor that would be more of a crowd pleaser than Herschel.
Well, certainly he's one of the hottest running West Coast drivers, as Ronnie Thomas, the Young independent driver out of Christiansburg, Virginia in the 41 car takes it back out into the wars. Down that long back straightaway, your leaders come through the dogleg. We're working the 22nd lap at the present time. The Dygaard machine is out front. Jeff Bodine proving his worth right now in car number 88. And I stand to be corrected. That is not a Dygaard racing car. It's carrying the colors that Dygaard had last year, the Gatorade sponsorship. It's a Cliff Stewart entry. Harry Gant down to the inside. Gant tries to make a move, almost rolls into the rear bumper as they go through turn 1 in the dog leg that takes him to turn number 2. But Gant is setting the challenge. Bobby Allison is right behind Ricky Rudd. There's a little separation among those cars. It's still early in the going. 95 laps will constitute this Budweiser 400. But Bodine likes to run up front. He's always been a front-running car. His father ran a racetrack. He's had a lot of experience on short tracks, and I think short track experience pays off on a road course for a guy that doesn't normally do this week after week.
Exactly, and Darrell Waltrip, who is the master of the short tracks, I mean, he done almost with Junior Johnson, no one can touch them, and here again, he qualified new track record and on the pole, so very definitely short track experience really pays off at Riverside.
Well, Bodine started from the 5th position in the field, and now he's running up front, and he is our leader at the present time as they go down that long 4,000-foot back straightaway. Harry Gant is in hot pursuit. Gant out of Taylorsville, North Carolina, a carpenter by profession, used to build a lot of houses up there around Hiddenite and Taylorsville, his hometown, which is above Charlotte, North Carolina. And he is in hot pursuit as they come out of turn 9. They sweep the cars up out against the outside wall. And Gant is really hounding the 88 car of Bodine as he runs within a half a car length and sets to challenge him as they come into turn 2. Thinks better of it, falls back behind Bodine. Bodine ran over the inside apex safety markers, and you can see the car momentarily lose balance.
As they cross over, you notice that on certain of the ripple bars, they try to avoid other cars are running over them. We'll have to see if, in fact, later on, the cars that run over the ripple bars have trouble with their suspension. They have car 96 in. Looks like they have a tire problem with the outside tires.
Well, car number 96 made an earlier pit stop and once again finds itself back in with some problems.
That's Jim Bound, who had body contact earlier with Neil Bonnet, and it could be that part of that, I see they're beating on the fender down there, so I would say that possibly that body contact early on has caused them some more problems.
Well, Jim Bound, the brother of Chuck Bound, who runs up in the Northeast section in the late model sportsman division out of Portland, Oregon. He was the best qualifying Winston West driver, qualified at 114.135 miles per hour, and that was 7th on the grid. Bobby Allison has gotten by Ricky Rudd. He now rides in 3rd place, and Allison drops it over in the dirt as he is trying to pick up some steam. They're through a very fast portion of the course, but also a very treacherous one as they run that portion of this road course, which is almost like an oval, in reverse. And Allison is on the charge in car number 22. But Harry Gant is down to the inside of 88 Bodine. Almost pulled it off. Bodine covers himself down very, very well as he snakes the car through the S's, tries to straighten out this portion of the road course. Comes up, he's coming to turn 6 right now. He'll be going under heavy braking, shifting the car down. He's into 3rd gear, shifts into 2nd right there, swings the car over to the right, brings the car through the short chute. Pat Patterson is standing by in the pits with the Junior Johnson crewman, Jeff Hammond.
I'm with Jeff Hammond on the Junior Johnson crew. A problem on the Darrell Waltrip car in the early goings. Jeff, what exactly happened?
Well, Tim Richmond and Darrell were racing, and Tim and them got together, and it kind of knocked our toe end out, the front end sitting on the tires. So when we had that caution flag last time, we decided to go ahead and come back in here in the early stages and kind of get that trued up. And right after that, we were out there riding around the caution flag, and Darrell run over something up on the racetrack, some debris, rocks, and cut a tire down. So we rather than take a chance, we come on in, change 4 tires, and we didn't really lose anything. And that way we had a little peace of mind. Everything else is fine right now. We're just, playing it by ear, working our way back up through traffic.
Was there any cosmetic damage to the car?
Just a little bit of some tire marks, a little wrinkle to the door. It's nothing really serious.
Okay, you didn't go a lap down.
No, everything else is fine. We're just at the tail end of the field, more or less. We're working our way back through there. Darrell's just playing it by ear. Still got a lot of racing to run.
Okay, Darrell Waltrip back at the back of the pack right now, but apparently got the situation under control.
Well, in the early going, Darrell Waltrip having a mishap with Tim Richmond That's cost him some time as he's running now back in the pack, as Jeff Hammond and Pat Patterson just discussed. But for Bodine, he is up front, exactly where he belongs. Originally from Chemung, New York, now residing in Pleasant Garden, North Carolina. His wife, Kathy, is one of the most colorful Grand National wives. He was the champion spark plug Rookie of the Year last season. Been racing Grand National since 1979. He has won 2 poles so far in 83, won 2 last year in 82. He's presently 18th in points. He's had a lot of hard luck this season. Has failed to finish a lot of races, and he's still looking for that first win in Grand National competition. Scott Miller is into the pit area on the 51 car. Scott started towards the tail end of the pack and had his problems in qualifying, but he's in. He's getting tires on the inside, which is to the right at this facility. Ricky Rudd making a pass on Harry Gant. He's trying to take back a position. Rudd and Gant battling each other through turn 9 as they give chase to Bodine. They're racing door handle to door handle. He almost sticks it into the quarter panel. Look at both of those drivers bring it out of turn 9. Fishtailing as they come onto the main straightaway, and by the start finish line we see a yellow flag out. Yellow is on the track. Harold Kinder waves yellow here at the start finish line. Current leaders here at Riverside International Raceway. Bodine, your leader. Ricky Rudd being scored in 2nd place. Harry Gant 3rd. Bobby Allison is 4th. Terry Labonte runs 5th. We're under yellow at Riverside.
We'll be back with more racing from Riverside International Raceway right after this.
We're working the 7th lap of the yellow flag brought out by Randy Becker, the driver of car number 64 out of Highlands, California. Lauren, a lot of liquids on the racing surface.
Yes, that's right near the entrance to the bridge there on the very fast part of the course, and that will make it very difficult under traffic, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go back to green.
Well, Becker out of Highlands, California, going out of the race in the early going, causing 7 laps of a yellow flag. The leader, Joe Ruttman, now shows his strength, and he's being followed by the 04 car, Herschel McGriff. McGriff has been moving up steadily in this race, has been very persistent. Ruttman, who had his problems early and made a pit stop, is back on the lead lap and is the leader as he moves through turn number 9 right now with the Levi Garrett car up front. He moves through 9. He's being chased, but look at that battle back in the pack. 2 cars almost together, and it's Tim Richmond charging through, followed by Terry Labonte. Now Ricky Rudd makes a charge. Ricky Rudd gets by Herschel McGriff as they get into the S's. Meanwhile, Ruttman continues to run up front, followed by Gant, then Rudd, then McGriff runs 4th. Look at the swing of those cars through that wavy area of the track, known as the S's here. Ruttman, Gant, Rudd, McGriff, and Earnhardt, your top 5. So Earnhardt has also been moving up very steadily.
Dale has done a super job of keeping his car out of trouble, as we see Harry Gant trying to make a move, thinks about it, there's not room there, that's only 1 lane wide at turn 6.
Well, if you could be door handle to door handle going in there, you could possibly get by, because you'd make the driver on the outside of the track actually wash out and lose the adhesion characteristics, make him slow down under braking and make him fall back into 2nd place. But Ruttman won't have anything to do with that as he drags the entire field down that long 4,000-foot back straightaway and through the dog leg. They're coming under the bridge right now. They'll make the dog leg to the left. They're in 4th gear, running approximately 185 miles an hour. Now hard on the brakes goes Ruttman as he comes into turn 9, drops the car over into the dirt. But look at Harry Gant. Gant takes a high side line. Gant goes out in front. Gant rim rides out of turn 9, brings out against the outside wall. The car doesn't falter. He's dragging along Ricky Rudd. It's almost like something happened to Ruttman. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place change in the blink of an eye. Tim Richmond is back up on the charge now as he's behind Dale Earnhardt. But Gant is your leader on the Skull Bandit here in Alameda's backyard in sunny Southern California. He's now setting the pace. But look at Richmond. He's off in the dirt. A tremendous driving style for this hard charger who has driven in road races before, has had Indy experience, used to drive the Super Bs, used to be an outlaw sprinter up in his native Ohio.
He's going to put a move on Dale Earnhardt here very soon. Matter of fact,
down to the inside right now. Look at it. Let's see if he can wash him out. He's out of camera view as the camera is on Ruttman. It'll be interesting to see how they come down the back straightaway. He got by Dale Earnhardt. He got by Earnhardt under heavy braking at turn 8. But your leaders are coming by the bridge right now.
You can see the oil absorbent in the air there, which makes it very dangerous. It's hard on the vision, and it's very difficult, so it must be very slippery there.
Slow traffic, almost blocked our two front-running cars. They split around car number 51, and able to maintain his lead, Harry Gant, but drags along the Ricky Rudd automobile as the 51 car heads to the pits. Scott Miller. But look at Richmond. Richmond's on the charge as he pulls to the outside of the 98 car. Joe Ruttman makes a pass in turn 1, moves into 3rd place, and he is really got the wick turned up on the number 27 Raymond Beetle entry.
What a place to pass. The most dangerous, fast corner on the course. Tim goes by on the outside, which is unheard of. Tremendous pass. Great driver.
Richmond, the fastest car on the track right now. Got that Harold Elliott engine tuned up. It's tweaked. It's running. It's strong. Through the short chute, he heads for turn number 8. The two leaders battle with each other. Ricky Rudd on the fly. The Piedmont pacemaker pulls right behind the 33 car. He noses him in the quarter panel. Almost spins Harry Gant out. Gant comes onto that long back straightaway. The 33 car tries to pull a little advantage. He is being hotly pursued by two young lions. One of those, Ricky Rudd, still looking for his first win, and the other one is the guy that won 2 times last season. They come under the bridge. Ricky Rudd, he's under him. He makes the pass, going into turn 9, stands hard on the brake, turns hard to the right now. He gets through there, but look at Richmond. Richmond is there. Richmond threatens. Richmond rides to the outside, takes the long line through turn 9. A battle up front here at Riverside, California, the Budweiser 400. Richmond hounds car number 33, Gant. Richmond says he likes the track. It's easy for him to run. It's suited to his style. And believe you me, he's putting the pressure on the 33, Harry Gant, Skull Bandit, right now.
We got a tremendous battle going on back for 4th place right now, Bill. We got to keep an eye on that because they were 3 abreast going through turn 2 up there. See if we can pick up that great battle.
One car trailing a little smoke right now. Looks like it could be Terry Labonte. He's been having an oiling problem since the early going. As he goes into turn 6, manages to clear himself of traffic. Meanwhile, your leaders head for turn 8. 1,645 feet above sea level, the second highest spot on this racetrack. Moving around now, off into the dirt momentarily goes Harry Gant, kicks up some smoke. Down the back straightaway. Let's see what Tim Richmond can do. With Harry Gant, he shadows him down just like a boxer right now. Runs in the draft, pulls over to the inside of the corner. Coming under the bridge, he's got him. He's moved into 2nd place. He is turning some phenomenal laps right now, and he has really got the wick turned up on the 27 car. Moving around right now, this is a fine run. He was disappointed at Darlington in the Rebel 500. He found himself leading on the first lap after winning the pole, but he crashed going down the back straightaway after the engine expired. Now he dives into turn 1, and he's behind Ricky Rudd, your 4th place runner, Terry Labonte, 5th. Ruttman, 6th is Allison, 7th is Dale Earnhardt. Herschel McGriff rides 8th. Your 9th place runner is Bill Elliott, car number 9, and look at Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip is moving up in car 11, followed by Neil Bonnet. Kyle Petty has suffered some damage somewhere on the racetrack. Obviously, he's nosed into someone. Jeff Bodine, who's been in the pits for several laps with some type of problem, is coming back out on the racetrack right now in car number 88, spending several laps over at the transporter with some bad problems. I believe Pat Patterson is standing by in the pit area with a report on that.
I'm standing at the rear of the Jeff Bodine pit, the car number 88. Up until a few laps ago, Bodine was leading this event. He broke a brake line on the left-hand side of the car. He took the car to the garage to repair it. As you can see, the pit's empty right now. They do have the car back on the track right now. He's going to be quite a few laps down. It's a tough break for one of the hard-charged rookies that's been out here, 1982 Rookie of the Year, and now he's going to be a few laps down going back into this event.
Tough break for Jeff Bodine. Bodine has been out front in almost every race he's run this season, but he's had considerable bad luck. A challenge for the lead. It's now Richmond, who dominated both races last year, streaks over to the inside. Both of these drivers will go under braking in turn 9. Richmond rides to the high side. Rudd fights him off. They're door handle to door handle right now as they come through turn 9. both of these drivers want the lead. As they come out, Richmond goes to the outside wall. This time he will take the line as they go into turn 1. Richmond takes the lead by a front fender as Rudd will be relegated to the second position.
But now Rudd's got the inside. No, Tim maintained first spot.
He covered down very well going in to the second turn by getting back over on the line. Had he stayed out just a little bit longer, Rudd would have been able to get back by him. But Richmond is going for broke right now. Richmond in the 27 car, owned by the drag racer Raymond Beadle, the Blue Max Racing Team, is up front, leading by 3 car lengths as they go through turn 6, the 1,650-foot elevated position here at Riverside, California. We'll be back at Riverside International Raceway and the Budweiser 400 in a minute. Your leaders coming down the back straightaway, and they have garnered more distance over the third-place runner, Harry Gant. And it looks like Ricky Rudd is set to challenge the 27 car again. Now, Rudd may have been laying back several laps trying to cool his tires down a little bit to see Richmond's driving style and perhaps pick out an area where he thinks that perhaps he can overtake the lead car. Richmond comes out of 9, rides it right out against that concrete wall. Right behind him comes the Monte Carlo SS of Ricky Rudd. Down into the dirt, going into turn 1. Richmond trying to apex the corner just a little too tightly, dropped it over into the dirt, kicking up some debris onto the windshield of Ricky Rudd.
That's a very dangerous thing because that's where the rocks can come out. You can cut a tire out there. Last year, that's what happened to Allison. He was out in there, cut a tire, cost him the race. This could happen to Tim. It is a quick way around, but it is a gamble.
Well, Rudd draws back down on the rear bumper now. Richmond through the short chute. He seems to be able to gather up a little distance right there, but they also have a slow car in front of them. That's Buddy Arrington. And that slow car may be slowing Richmond down just enough to allow Rudd to draw up to the rear bumper, because he didn't want to pass him under braking or in that corner. He wanted to pass him on the straightaway.
Use the draft, and of course Tim stayed behind Buddy as long as he could to get as much draft down the chute.
They come under the bridge. They take that left-hander in there at 185 miles an hour. They run up on a slow car that's right in front of them. And of course, that's the car that looks very similar to the one that Darrell Waltrip has driven in previous seasons. That's Bill Schmidt out of Redding, California, and he's a racetrack promoter over at Redding. And he heads down the pit lane as your leaders cross the stripe for another lap. We have another accident over, it looks like, in the S's.
We'll see how that affects the leaders as they come through. Lots and lots of dust, which is a real hazard.
Car off course, facing our camera at the present time. And there come your leaders by right now. They're really slowing down. Car number 13 is off course. That's Stephen Wheeler out of Bakersfield, California. Wheeler off course in car number 13. He got in the show in the 25th starting position, driving a Buick, qualified at 110 miles per hour, and he brings out the yellow flag. The 48 laps remaining in the race here at Riverside, California. With Stephen Wheeler sitting on the edge of the raceway. Here's a look at exactly what happened with Stephen Wheeler. Wheeler just flat lost it, got it over into the loose dirt. Fortunately, spinning around, there's no traffic.
Now, Bill, you can see the dust there, and if there was a car coming through there at speed, there'd be no way they could have seen him. Fortunately, the car was able to continue off the road. Otherwise, that could be a very serious incident.
The smartest thing he did was quickly get the car over off the asphalt and onto the dirt. Stephen Wheeler, an oil field machine shop operator. This is his 4th race he's ever run in Grand National competition. He used to race in Formula Ford and Sports Car Club of America action. Got a problem on an engine there. Pontiac. And that's the 52 car. Jimmy Means obviously breaking a line to the radiator, and the coolant comes rushing out. The car running hot. His mechanics administering to the car. hopefully they can get him back into the competition. This was a long tow for Jimmy Means, the driver of car number 52, and he's an independent. He said he was looking forward to just finishing about 12th or so. If he finished 18th, he'd feel like he ran the race.
He's had a good year. He's up in the standings. He's having a good year. I just hope he can get it back together and finish up and get as many points as possible for this long tow.
We're halfway at the present time, but for Jimmy Means, he said if he could finish 8th, he would feel like he had won the race here at Riverside, California. He's presently 10th in points, and is a real good run for young independent drivers. Never runs new tires, always runs scuffs. He said he'd like to know what it would be like to race a competitive car here at Riverside International Raceway. A battle for the lead. Ricky Rudd takes the lead again, skates by Tim Richmond, under braking at turn 9. So we have a new leader here at Riverside, California, as we pass the halfway mark, working into the second half of the race. But look at Harry Gant just riding there, carefully observing it. Terry Labonte's doing likewise. A fine run for him. Richard Petty's been into somebody's rear quarter panel, possibly Bobby Allison's. Here's the way it happened when Ricky Rudd took over the lead. Rudd moved over to the right, dove down to the inside, and just flat blew by Tim Richmond under heavy braking. And look how deep he has to drive the car into the corner.
I noticed in that last lap that Harry Gant, as he came out on turn 9, the car was almost sideways coming out. So, and we have Darrell Waltrip coming in for an unscheduled pit stop. Let's see if they've got a problem there. Looks like they're going to change the outside tires.
Darrell Waltrip in on the 11 car.
Hi, this is Harry Gant. We'll be back to Riverside Raceway in 1 minute.
Waltrip has returned to the action on the 11 car. The defending Winston Cup Grand National Champion back in the contest. He's been having his problems here this afternoon. An early pit stop cost him. He fell back to the end of the field. He worked himself back up into the top 10. And once again, he's had to pay a visit to the pits under the green.
The traffic is really coming into effect here now as they catch slower cars. There's only one line through these narrow turns. It's not like on an oval track where you can run 3 or 4 wide. They're just one little ribbon of asphalt.
Well, now they're onto the surface of the track that will accommodate racing 3 or 4 abreast. It's quite wide down that 3,000-foot back straightaways. They passed Joe Ruttman's car. Ruttman obviously expired something in the drivetrain and has parked it. They moved by Summer McKnight, and now they're running up on another slow car. They're moving by, oh boy, look at the traffic going into turn 9. Gant threads the needle right there.
That's a great pass because he put that other car between he and Terry Labonte.
Now look at Ricky Rudd driving to the outside of Trevor Boyes out of Alberta, Canada. Boyes racing his first season on the Winston Cup Grand National Tour. Used to race Formula Vs and midgets and tried to qualify at Indy several years ago, but failed to make the field after crashing in practice.
And Summer McKnight in the 83 car was the one that was the result of all that. He got passed on inside, outside. I'm sure that he got a real thrill there in turn 9.
He had a rear mirror full of automobiles passing on the inside and the outside. Ricky Rudd, because of the traffic, was able to pick up an advantage there over the second place runner as he moves through turn 6. That's a very treacherous corner. You go through there quite slow, but one little slip will send you into that outside retaining wall.
You crest a hill there, Bill, and as you go around the corner, the car gets light, and that's what happens. It carries you right towards what they call the Armco, and it's very unforgiving.
Herschel Francis, 0-3 into the pit area, and Herschel McGriff, who was running in the top 10, pays a visit to the pits under the green. For some of these drivers, this may be a scheduled pit stop for fresh tires and fuel. Travis Carter told me earlier 28 laps would be about the distance before you would have to come in and refresh your tires and take on a new tank of gas. But Darrell Waltrip goes by our location here high in the tower at the start-finish line. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd, look at the advantage he now has. Tim Richmond has fallen off the pace somewhere, and Richmond obviously has expired. We said we saw the telltale trail of smoke.
And I noticed that Terry Labonte was gone from that because Terry was right here with this pack, and Terry is now gone.
Well, coming to the stripe, Ricky Rudd is your leader. He carries, and Harry Gant is down the pit lane. Yes. We have a crash. Tim Richmond involved in the crash. Terry Labonte involved in the crash. Your second place runner has been involved. Trevor Boyes involved in the crash. So as they were moving by Trevor Boyes, Overtaking him, the young driver out of Alberta, Canada. Terry Labonte crashes along with Richmond. Richmond has his car back under power, trying to make it back around to the pits. Well, the yellow is only out at that turn. Yellow is not all the way out around this facility. Harry Gant has taken the opportunity to pay a visit to the pits. The interesting note is that your leaders, Ricky Rudd continues to be the leader, and the second place runner will possibly be Richard Petty as he has moved up. Richmond comes in through the back door of the pits. I don't think it's going to bother him that they're going to assess him a 30-second penalty, but he would rather come in through the back door, the short way, into the pits here at Riverside, California, than have to continue on around through turn 9. Now, there's your leader through turn 9 right now, Ricky Rudd. And your second place runner is Richard Petty.
And we have a yellow all the way around now.
Now Rudd takes the opportunity with yellow flag coming out to pay a visit to the pit area. He's got to have a smile on his face right now as he looked in the rearview mirror. Richard Petty stays on the track, but the leader rolls down the pit lane. I believe he stops right now and is stopping the tire going up on the jacks, the left-hand tires going on the car. Richard Petty will be probably pitting next time by.
I believe Petty is a lap down because of that former incident. He had to change a tire because of the shunt, so he is a lap down.
Well, it's wholesale pit stop time for Dale Earnhardt into the pit area.
I believe Harry Gant will take over the lead. This will show him as the leader, 33.
Well, Gant came into the pits before the yellow flag came out. Very smartly, Travis Carter brought him in. He was serviced and put back into the action, but quickly, Ricky Rudd coming back up to speed as he rolls out of the pit area. Another one of the front runners in, Bobby Allison with an undamaged car, is in for service on car number 22. Kyle Petty is in. But Rudd is back on the surface. And look at there. Trevor Boys and Terry Labonte stand by as helpless spectators as they observe the action just beyond the bridge. We'll be back in moments with more of the exciting action of the Budweiser 400 from Riverside International Raceway. It's really a shame that that car, number 44, was wrecked here at Riverside International Raceway. That was a brand new car that Terry Labonte brought here for the Billy Hagan Racing Team and been recently constructed and just finished off last Thursday night. He came here, he said, man, I've got a car that's set up strictly for road racing. This is an opportunity. He started right up there in third place. He helped break the old track record. Then it all comes to an end in a crash with Trevor Boys and Tim Richmond. Of course, Richmond and Labonte running for position in this afternoon's Budweiser 400. Of course, one of the sponsors on the Terry Labonte car, John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Riverside, California is not too far from Hollywood, California, and one of the people that is always close by the racing is John Snyder of the Dukes of Hazzard. John, you're a part sponsor on Terry Labonte's car, right?
Yes, I am. I'm an associate sponsor, and you see I got my shirt and everything. It's great. I started this year in the first race with Daytona 500. Got involved there. I've been involved singing for Budweiser at the different, boy, that's loud, at the different fairs and different things that they have. And it's grown into this. Who knows? Maybe one day I can not only just sit around and watch the cars, maybe I can get in one. That'd be a lot of fun.
You have a thing called the Celebrity Machine.
Yeah, here, look there. See?
There it is right there on the back. Tell me a little bit about that, John.
Well, we fix and sell exotic sports cars. We fix Maseratis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and also we make, I've got a 1966 Corvette, and we've made that go a lot faster than it was ever supposed to go. I guess we fix them more than we sell them, but it's kind of my hobby turned into a business. I had a couple of cars that didn't run very well, and I found a mechanic, and he needed a place to do his work, so I opened up a shop. His name is Gary Kirsten. We've got 2 shops now, one in Burbank and one in Studio City.
Well, sounds great. Has Terry got a good chance of winning today?
Oh, you bet. It's even better than a good chance. He's going to win.
Okay, John.
You know, he had the track record for about a minute and a half, and then the other 2 guys beat him, but we had a bad engine in the car at that time. We put a brand new engine in. We're going to walk away with it.
Okay, John Snyder, the Dukes of Hazzard here, working on Terry Labonte's car number 44.
Don Waterman And car number 38 follows Sterling Marlin back out on the racing surface. Glenn Francis, and Sterling looks like he might be having a little problem coming up to speed after suffering problems with overheating on his entry here, the Roger Hamby car. Meanwhile, we continue to clean up the racing surface here at Riverside International Raceway. In just a moment, we'll be returning here to sunny Southern California for more of this exciting action in the Budweiser 400. The green flag unfurls at turn 8. The charge down that long back straightaway. You can see him overtaking the pace car before they reach the bridge there. For Ricky Rudd, he is your leader. Harry Gant rides in second place. Bobby Allison is third as they move by Sumner McKnight. McKnight moves over to the inside, allows Allison by along with Earnhardt on the 15 car. Now, look out. Gant is loose. Gant gets up into the marbles, loses all traction. Allison dives to the inside, followed by Earnhardt. But Gant, obviously his tires were not heated and found himself skating in the marbles. He drops back to fourth place. Bill Elliott rides fifth. Herschel McGriff still in the action in the 04 car, along with Kyle Petty in car 7. Ricky Rudd now through the S's, moves smoothly towards turn 6. Running in third gear right now, still in third. He'll drop it into second just as he comes to the crest of the hill. Right here, he drops it into second gear. The car gears down, dives over to the inside of the track. Wasn't a very good line that time for Ricky Rudd.
No, the rear tires are obviously not up to speed yet. Oversteered, but he had it under control. But definitely the track surface is getting very treacherous, very slick. The little rocks are pulling up out of the asphalt, so I understand, Bill, and it's causing a lot of marbles.
And we've had 27 laps under the yellow for track conditions and also crashes. This is going to be a relatively slow race for these Winston Cup Grand National competitors. Coming back down the back straightaway, we see Ricky Rudd looking very smart.
Harry Gant's gone.
But Bobby Allison is right there, and Allison will be knocking on the door when they come onto the front straightaway because he's going to close the margin down. A shuffle in positions. Harry Gant is now being hounded by Bill Elliott. Herschel McGriff wants some of the action. Those 4 cars run almost together. But look at Allison whittling down the lead of Ricky Rudd as they come across the stripe and head to turn 1. Now Earnhardt is there, but Gant is down the pit lane. Gant has gone into the pits. Obviously some problems, maybe a tire equalized. He couldn't get into the pits last time around because of all the traffic, but this time he's in the pits on the 33 car. Travis Carter is there. They're working feverishly. 2 other cars make it back into the pits. Neil Bonnet along with Jeff Bodine. A quick pit stop for the 33 runner, Harry Gant. He's back down the pit lane, but certainly he's dropped out of the contention at the present time. Another one reporting down the pit lane is a 71 car of Dave Marcus, and Marcus has a tire down on the left front, possibly running over some debris on the track.
Yes, I think that the asphalt that is breaking up could be a factor here now, and Harry may have had a low tire because the car would not stay in the groove. As he went into turn 9, you could see the car come out of the groove, go toward the wall, and only his super skill kept him from crashing down there. So he definitely had something wrong with the tires. And we can see now that the old pro, Bobby Allison, who's been pacing himself throughout this entire afternoon, is now relentlessly running down the young Ricky Rudd.
Well, he certainly has been turning up the wick on that car. He's feverishly going around this track. With every turn of the wheel, he seems to be picking up some speed and gaining some ground, but Rudd has not changed his line around the track. But Allison seems to be effortlessly catching up, his car handling just fine after being prepped by Gary Nelson, a California native. Earnhardt and Elliott have got their race among the 2 Fords. Kyle Petty looks strong in car number 7, and Petty is there on the lead lap, actually racing with Herschel McGriff.
And I noticed some smoke that was coming from Tim Richmond's car, so we'll see if that is just a little tire rub or if in fact it is some terminal problem.
Well, Sumner McKnight's coming into the pits in the 83 car. Sumner, of course, out of Easton, Maryland, resides out here in California on a part-time basis, takes the back entrance into the pit area, and Bobby Allison's going to dive down to the inside of Ricky Rudd, try to close the distance down as they come onto that long back straightaway, and this may be Allison's lap to overtake the Piedmont pacemaker. Down the long back straightaway, they come into view before they come under the bridge. But Rudd seems to have a little advantage along that long back straightaway. He seems to be able to floor the car and make it come up to speed much quicker. He jumps off that corner a little quicker. Now Allison starts to whittle down the margin, and in doing so, it'll be a late braking move here in turn 9 that will draw him down even closer to the leader as he drops the right front tire off into the dirt of the track.
Bobby very much would like to jump into the lead and pick up those 5 points because that will protect his lead. So he is now close enough that on that back chute at 170 miles an hour, he will get a draft. He can back out of the throttle ever so slightly, save the engine, runs cooler, conserves fuel. Bobby's in a perfect position right now. And it looks to me like he's ready to move in and get those 5 points.
Well, he's getting very, very close right now, and he is almost there as he continues to shadow down on the number 3 car. For Rudd, he's had that Chevrolet out front as much as he possibly could all day long, and certainly has taken advantage of every opportunity to be the leader, but he almost miscued in turn 6 there. I imagine he's looking in the rearview mirror and seeing Bobby Allison fill it up. He's got to say, man, I've got to stay out front. I'm running real good. This is not a super speedway. The draft will really not pay as much of effect on a slingshot on the last lap. He draws away once again as he jumps on to the back straightaway coming off of turn 8. Pat Patterson is standing by in the pits.
I'm talking with Warner Hodgson, the sponsor on the Neil Bonnet car. Warner, how's the car running today here at Riverside?
Well, the car's been running real well, except, you know, we had a little problem up there in about the first 10 laps. Got knocked off the track and got about 3 laps behind.
Okay, can Neil come back some this afternoon?
Pick up Allison.
We can't. It's pretty hard to make up 3 laps in Riverside track, but we'll run to the end. And we feel we're running in 10th place right now. And of course, we're running 3rd points, so it's very important for us to end and finish the race.
Warner, let me ask you. You sponsor a car, and you're down here with the car all the time. How do you feel about the relationship with the R.J. Reynolds Winston Tobacco Company?
Well, NASCAR really started this circuit, and I feel that the Winston Company and the R.J. Reynolds Company has really made what Winston Cup racing is and Grand National racing is today. Without their wide sponsorship, we just wouldn't have the opportunity.
Somebody with Warner right now is Greg Novak with the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. Greg, are you enjoying the afternoon here at Riverside?
I sure am. It's a beautiful day for racing. And as Warner said, we've been sponsoring Winston Cup racing now for 13 years. And we feel that we've been able to offer a lot to the sport. As a matter of fact, in 1983, we have just raised our total point fund winnings to $500,000, which is $100,000 over what we put into the sport last year. Also, the first place finisher this year for Winston Cup Racing will receive $150,000, which is double the amount that we paid last year.
That's fantastic, Greg.
Bobby Allison was making a charge to try to work on Ricky Rudd's first place position. All of a sudden slowed down coming down the back straightaway. Instead of continuing on to the racing surface like he normally would through turn 9, he elected to take a 30-second penalty. Coming through the back pits here at Riverside, he turned down around, he came down the pit lane. The hood is up on the 22 car right now. Obviously, it's more than something simple. They're talking to Bobby through the window net right now. Gary Nelson, Robert Yates, concerned about this very lengthy stop, but it's dropped Bobby Allison out of contention. Ricky Rudd continues to be the leader.
We'll be back with more racing from Riverside International Raceway right after this.
Ricky Rudd being scored as the leader here at Riverside International Raceway. The second place runner, Bill Elliott, in car 9. Third place being shown as Dale Earnhardt. So we have a Chevrolet and 2 Fords running in second and third. The fourth place runner is car 7, Kyle Petty, having an excellent run here this afternoon. Fifth place is Morgan Shepherd. He's advanced into the top 5. And look at Darrell Waltrip. He's running in 6th place. And Herschel McGriff decides to bring it in through the back entrance to the pits here at Riverside International Raceway. He had a fine run going for him. He ran in the top 10 all afternoon, suffered some type of damage on the rear deck of the car, ran a few more laps, and is now deciding to bring it down and back into the pit area. We have completed 72 laps here, and the competition seems to be waning here in the latter stages of this race. There's a 10.91 second separation between first and second place. First place belonging to Ricky Rudd, the Chesapeake, Virginia native. Second place belonging to Bill Elliott, with Dale Earnhardt running in third place. Ironic, Ricky Rudd was second in this race last year.
Now, Ricky Rudd is very good on the road courses. He's had enough experience with the short tracks that it really pays off. Ricky's young. He doesn't tire here, and this is a little bit more fatiguing maybe than say a long track where you can get on the straightaway and stretch and relax. Here you've got the left and right turns. Most of the drivers aren't used to the G-loads that you get in turning to the right instead of always turning to the left. So this definitely is a track that Ricky has done well on, and today he's showing he's stretching his lead just about a half a second a lap now over Bill Elliott. And he's using his traffic. He's making an excellent pass right now, staying out of trouble, and maintaining that good lead over Bill Elliott.
Well, right now, with the lead that he has over Bill Elliott, he's maintaining a very nice rhythm, and that's what it takes, an artistic approach to driving this track at the present time, trying to make every corner just perfect. For one thing, he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him, but he does have one thing standing in his way between now and victory, and that is that he's going to have to make another pit stop. Running in second place is Bill Elliott. Elliott's running 12.48 seconds behind your leader. The Piedmont Airlines pacemaker setting the pace at the present time. Some of the other cars still running and in contention are the Earnhardt car. Waltrip is still on the track, and Waltrip is having a good run after some complications early in the going, causing him to visit the pits on several occasions. A rundown right now shows Rudd as your leader, Bill Elliott in second place, Earnhardt runs fourth, and McGriff, until he made this pit stop, was the fourth place runner and was a fine run for the Bridal Veil, Oregon driver. Fifth place on lap 70 was showing his car number 70. We've got a car loose. It's Neil Bonnet. Bonnet apparently is exploding an engine, cocks it sideways, gets it out of harm's way. It was a tire, the left front tire on the Warder Hodgdon entry, car 75, the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, and Neil Bonnet just cut down coming through turn 9, possibly picking up some debris. He's sitting there waiting for the engine to refire.
They had some problems early on. He's been running very well. He did a masterful job keeping it, one, off the outside wall, and two, getting it slowed down before the concrete abutment. Had he hit that abutment, it could have been obviously a serious incident.
Well, he almost collected up several other drivers who managed to get by on either side of him. Now the crew is running down to him, and NASCAR says, fellas, you've got to stay away from the car. There is danger with people coming down the pit lane.
I believe that once the car gets into the white line, the pit area, I believe the rule is that then they can assist the car.
Well, J.D. McDuffie looked like he was going to make a turn down the pit lane and decided to continue down the front straightaway. The yellow flag is being shown so they can retrieve Neil Bonnet from the edge of the racing surface. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd has a chance to relax a little bit, but it's also going to tighten up the field. We'll be back from Riverside International Raceway in the Budweiser 400 in just a few moments. For Ricky Rudd, it's now on the line as we move into the closing stages of this race. They posted that 79 laps have been completed. 16 laps to go. We have completed 80. That's correct. 79 laps completed, 16 to go. He moves through turn number 8, brings the car around, tries to apex that inside corner, then moves it back over to the left, apexes that corner, and moves onto the straightaway. Now, he has shown some power coming down that back straightaway and has managed on occasion to move away from whoever's running behind him by anywhere from 3 to 5 car lengths.
He's got that car hooked up because you can see him physically pull away coming out of the corner, and that's what it takes on a short track. That's what it takes on a road track, is to brake late, get through it cleanly, and get the power down as early as possible. And you can see that he is now pulled out about an 8-car length over Bill Elliott.
The charge is on. Darrell Waltrip is moved by Dale Earnhardt into third place on that long back straightaway. It may be Ricky Rudd in the lead, but coming on strong, making that charge is car number 11. Darrell Waltrip in the Junior Johnson car. He's got his final instructions. He's made his final pit stop, and he is bringing that car on. Into turn 2, they'll be working through the S's. Ricky Rudd will be shielding off the competition, as he is probably hearing on the radio from his crew chief, Richard Childress, that Waltrip is on the charge. Do whatever it takes but stay out in front. And there's Waltrip. He's moving up on the rear bumper now, Bill Elliott. Bill out of Dawsonville, Georgia. Waltrip's been to victory lane here before. He knows the way there. For Ricky Rudd, it would be in a brand new experience. You can see some damage right there on the number 11 where somebody's wheel has gotten into Waltrip earlier in the day.
And you can see now the key will be for Ricky is how quickly Darrell can get by. It looks like he's pulling up. If he gets in the draft, he'll get by him coming down the sweeper, and we'll see Darrell in second spot as he comes underneath the bridge, and then Ricky has his work cut out for him.
Both of those cars tacking up for Elliott, pulling 7,600 RPMs. For the 11 car, Waltrip, he's pulling 8,000 RPMs and pulls past the number 9 car, diving into turn 3. He is going to try to go after the leader. He is making every effort. They're running on clear racing surface right now. There are no cars in front of them. There are no traffic to bog them down. They will be engaging in heated battle within laps between the first and second place cars. An opportunity for Ricky Rudd to conquer this track. It could be another triumph for Darrell Waltrip.
Hi, this is Harry again. We'll be back to Riverside Raceway in 1 minute.
They move to turn 8. Waltrip is into the corner, following Rudd. Rudd comes onto the back straightaway. This is where he's had an advantage before with the other runners. For Waltrip, it's been a long run. We have one car off course, sitting off in the dirt, posing no threat. And hopefully the yellow flag won't come out because we're getting set for a showdown here at Riverside, California. 81 laps have been posted. There goes Ricky Rudd, and he did pick up some distance over Darrell Waltrip. 2.34 second separation between first and second place. Bill Elliott stays in the hunt. Dale Earnhardt in the hunt. He runs in 4th place. Coming through turn 9 now. We're showing a yellow flag. The yellow is being shown on the track. Harold Kinder has it out at the start-finish line. So Waltrip, Elliott, and Earnhardt will be able to bunch up your first 4 runners. The 5th place runner should be Dick Brooks from nearby Porterville, California. And Brooks said his mom and dad were going to be here today. They're in retirement, but they were coming over here to see their son run on home turf. He's originally from Porterville. Of course, he made the trek out east back in 1969 to take a Plymouth out there, run down at Daytona. And of course, that's how he got involved in Grand National racing at the time.
It's always nice to do well in front of your parents and your relatives and your friends. Sometimes that's when the most pressure is on, Bill. You come, you want to do well, and sometimes that's when things don't go very well. So he's had a great run, 5th place here. And the Fords now, look where the Fords are. They're now 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. So it's been a good day for Fords.
Well, with the top 5 drivers bunched up, we'll take this opportunity to pause for this message from the Budweiser 400 at Riverside International Raceway. We'll be back in a minute.
I'm with Richard Childers, crew chief on the Piedmont Airlines Ricky Rudd car. Ricky Rudd looking for his first Grand National victory. We have 9 laps to go as we come by. What have you got to tell Ricky right now to get him into victory lane?
Well, it ain't a whole lot, we can do. We just told him, do everything he can. We ain't got quite as good of tires as we had the time before, but he'll give it his best shot like all of us have.
You've obviously been keeping times all afternoon. How close are you and Waltrip running in proportion to speed?
Darrell's right now just a shade faster, but, hope, if we can run long enough, his tires may give up a little and ours get better.
Okay, you excited for him?
Yeah.
Obviously. Okay, Richard Childers getting ready. 9 laps to go here at Riverside, and it's going to be a shootout right to the end.
Well, Jim Bow, the gentleman that brought out the yellow flag, looking for a good day here today, started up towards the front of the pack. The best qualifying Winston West driver has been pushed back into his pit area after stalling on the course and bringing out the yellow flag. Well, pace car has the field under tow. Ricky Rudd is lined up in the first position. Darrell Waltrip runs second. Then Bill Elliott. Then Dale Earnhardt, Dick Brooks, Morgan Shepherd, Kyle Petty, Harry Gant. And the top 8 drivers are running in the lead lap. We're set for a shootout here at Riverside, California.
Ricky's been tested all day by everybody, but now behind him is the reigning Winston Cup champion for the last 2 years. This will really be a test, and Ricky's withstood the test all day. But I'll tell you, everyone says this is a shootout, and really, this is going to be a great show with 8 cars, and anything can happen on a road course. The car in 4th could be 1st, and that's what makes this so exciting.
Well, this is very similar to the International Race of Champions, certainly the finest in NASCAR, and some young Chargers have the opportunity to score a victory here in Southern California and carry a memory with them back to the East Coast. And I tell you what, it's going to be a real challenge among these drivers.
We'll be back with more racing from Riverside International Raceway right after this.
You've got one guy that's been the victory lane up there on numerous occasions. Here, he's the reigning Winston Cup champion sitting in second place, Darrell Waltrip. And of course, he's receiving instructions from Junior Johnson down on the pits. And then you've got a driver that's never been to victory lane, Ricky Rudd, running in the first position. And Richard Childress is sitting down on the pits with two-way radio in contact with his driver to tell him, keep it up front. You've got Bill Elliott, who's been the bridesmaid 6 times. He's touring the track in third place. And of course, he's got Ernie Elliott on the radio to him. Dick Brooks is there, home turf for him in car number 90. He would like nothing better than to win with Junie Dunleavy. And then, of course, there's Dale Earnhardt. As they come around into turn 8, the green flag should be coming out. And they are racing again. They overtake the pace car, which tries to maintain speed to make its exit from the track. And Ricky Rudd charges under the bridge. He'll be coming through right now, and he has got it on the floorboard. He flat has car number 3, the Piedmont Pacemaker, wound up. He's doing everything but leaving the ground right now as he is in front of Darrell Waltrip through turn 9. Look out, Morgan Shepherd in the wall. Shepherd skids around, locks it up in turn 9. But your leaders are coming to the stripe. The green flag continues to wave. Morgan is out of harm's way.
I don't believe he hit the wall, so I think we'll be able to go without a yellow. He's got it going now. He's back on the track. I believe we'll run under the green all the rest of the way home now.
Well, he is clear of traffic right now as your leaders go through the S's here at Riverside International Raceway. Pitching the car sideways, Ricky Rudd fighting the challenge of Darrell Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip has his prey right in front of his automobile as he skates the car a little sideways, losing some adhesion. Ricky Rudd needs the stick. He needs for the tires to work. He works through turn 8 now. He's been able to draw away along this back straightaway, which has been to his advantage. He's got plenty of torque and plenty of horsepower. Look at the advantage that he draws away over Darrell Waltrip as they go down the back straightaway. He wants to thwart the advance of the 11 car. Waltrip appears to drop back just a hair. The separation is a little larger than it was the last time they came through under the bridge and into 9. Bill Elliott has turned up the wick, and we have a battle for 4th place as Dick Brooks takes over that position in car number 90, the Junie Dunleavy car. Earnhardt's going to try to take him back low on the inside, drops a wheel over in the dirt. As those two drivers are battling for position, he washes out as he goes high on the track. Ricky Rudd is back to the stripe. Darrell Waltrip runs behind him 8 car lengths. Then Bill Elliott rides in 4th place. Rather, 3rd place, the 4th place driver, Dick Brooks, and 5th place, Dale Earnhardt. 6th place, Harry Gant. That's the way they're lined up here. As we've completed another lap of competition, Ricky Rudd through the S's. Ricky has been quite crafty in his maneuvers around the track today. Has not put the car in any position to really jeopardize it all afternoon.
He's running very smoothly. He's got that rhythm that you talked about, Bill. He's got that rhythm dialed. Darrell's going to have to break out of his rhythm. He's going to have to turn the wick up because Ricky has really got it dialed. And so one of the things that's going to be critical now is on the back straightaway coming down into 9, which is where we're probably going to see this race won and lost. And it appears to be very slippery. We've seen a number of cars down here get in and get out of the groove because it's very slippery. So we'll keep an eye on that as it gets near the end.
Hi, this is Tim Richmond. We'll be right back here to the Riverside Raceway right after this.
A minute, rather 1.31 second separation. 1.31 second separation between first and second place, and Waltrip runs a little higher and gets a little loose through turn 9.
That's where it's getting slippery down there, Bill. Everyone seems to be getting up high now.
Look at this battle for 4th place among 3 drivers, Gant, Earnhardt, and Brooks. Brooks maintains the line, tightens it up going into turn 1, but Earnhardt dives by on the inside, and Gant maybe going by on the outside. see Richard Petty running slow off the pace up through turn 6. He hasn't had a very good day all afternoon. But there goes the Piedmont pacemaker. A little slippery that time through turn 6. As he'll be drawing up on Richard Petty at any moment now. He's up to turn 8. This has been a very good corner for Ricky all day long. He's got it dialed in, and the car is handling superbly through that portion of the track. He's now down the back straightaway. Look at the car come up to speed with a burst of power. There goes Richard Petty by. Looks like he's able to maintain his advantage over the second place runner. Down into 9. He's looked good all day. He's been racing the track amazingly. Has not really bothered to race any other competitor out here. But look at Waltrip. He goes higher each time he goes through 9. That means that car's not quite handling like it was in the earlier going. But Ricky Rudd's car's like it's on rails. Handling this track as if he were a downhill racer. Every move coordinated. Artistic ability. Third place battle. Look at Earnhardt. Look at Harry Gantz down to the inside. Waltrip cuts him off, rather Earnhardt cuts him off, runs over the speed bumps.
We call that slamming the door.
He slammed the door on him that time, that's for sure. But look at Gant. He is riding on the ragged edge through the S's. Leader coming up to turn 8 again. Brings the car in, smoothly brings the car around that portion of the track. He's doing everything right so far, and it may just pay off for Richard Childress and Ricky Rudd. Here goes Dave Marcus by, along with Sterling Marlin and Richard Petty down that long back straightaway.
Now traffic is going to become a factor because you can see that Ricky's starting to come on slower cars, and he can either use this to his disadvantage or it could be a detriment. Let's see how he handles it.
Fortunately, he got by Sterling Marlin going into the corner. He's going to work traffic perfectly if he possibly can. He's not going to try to run up on Dave Marcus and Richard Petty going through a corner. He wants to get them on a straightaway. That way he doesn't have to break his rhythm.
Let's see if he's able to
maintain out from under the 17 car. Sterling Marlin showing smoke. Now right behind him is Darrell Waltrip. He smartly moves the car to the right-hand side of the racetrack, allowing Waltrip by. And Elliott will get by. For Ricky Rudd, he's coming through the S's. He's overtaken Dave Marcus. He'll be overtaking Petty now, but he does have traffic between himself and the second-place runner. Coming to the top of the hill now. In turn 6, he smartly stays in position to pass Petty when they come onto the straightaway. That's a very smart move on the part of Ricky Rudd. Ricky told me several days ago, he said, Bill, he said, I like to race road courses, and it's a lot of fun. I hope I can be around at the finish. Because you have to be there when they throw that white flag to be in contention to win a race, no matter whether it's on a super speedway or here on this remarkable road course where the legends have been born, like Dan Gurney, Bill Hill, Richie Ginther in road racing, and of course Petty and Waltrip, the current runners in NASCAR activity. Well, Rudd draws up on Richard Petty, and he's been pacing himself now. Richard is right in front of him. He comes around, Richard down low to the inside. Let's see what Richard does when Ricky Rudd moves up, pulls to the outside line. Rudd trying to overtake him, and Richard is apparently racing with him. Now he drops back and fades in behind him going into turn 1. Waltrip will have to overtake Petty along with Bill Elliott. Fourth place runner now, Harry Gant. There's some speculation that Waltrip might be having a problem.
He might have a soft tire. We've got a report in from the corner saying that it looked like one tire was a little bit soft, and that could be why he made that charge and he's dropping back. Let's see if he can maintain that second position.
We're showing 91 laps complete. We're into the final 4 laps here at Riverside, California. The sunny southern skies of this area near Hollywood, California. And what a drama we have. A young driver looking for that first opportunity to go into victory lane. And it may come here on a road course. Foreign for this young driver who's an accomplished super speedway racer. But here at Riverside, the opportunity to etch his name in the record book is going to be coming up. and it is a shootout, but he's driving a remarkable race at the present time. He moves up on slow traffic again. Glenn Francis in front of him. He moves over to the inside of Francis, and Richard is back up to speed now, even though he's several laps down.
You know, Richard did a nice thing here on the front straightaway last lap. The fast line as you come out of turn 9 is a swing over to the right-hand side, so he gave him that. Now we have a switch. We did notice that the tire was going low, and now Bill Elliott has overtaken Darrell Waltrip. And with just 4 laps to go, we'll see now if Darrell can hold off Harry Gant. And Harry Gant, of course, smells the blood, as they say, and he's going to be chasing him down.
Well, the car's not running at full song now for Darrell Waltrip. It doesn't sound like it's up to par. It sounds like he's got some problems, perhaps in the engine compartment, but he has been slowing down here in the last half a lap. For Ricky Rudd, he's looking in his rearview mirror and perhaps breathing a sigh of relief right now, but at the same time, those strange things could be running through his head about, I hope I can make it.
You start hearing all kinds of weird sounds about right now. You start listening for things, for sounds that you've never heard before. And even though they've been there the whole race, it's a very tense moment for a driver.
In the last 5 laps of this competition in previous years, strange things have happened. Blown tires, debris on the track, broken parts. There's Elliott. Elliott heads down that long back straightaway now. He's in hot pursuit of the front-running car, Ricky Rudd. But Ricky has an advantage. Ricky takes it into turn number 9. Ricky has looked very good all day. He has performed flawlessly. He has been able to evade his finest competition here in the closing laps. The only pressure he has felt was that from Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip has fallen further back.
You can see how high he gets in turn 9. It has to be one of the tires, either a bad tire or a tire has lost its pressure.
7.2 seconds.
Well, the distance is between turn 1 and turn 2 with 2 laps to go. Ricky Rudd, the Piedmont Airline car, he's moving it through the S's right now. Comes into turn number 6. Goes into the corner. Handles through that corner perfectly. He'll be coming around to take the white flag on this lap. Rudd through turn 8. They're coming onto the back straightaway. He really has no one applying any pressure at the present time. He can drive his own race. As he overtakes a slower car, moves towards the bridge here at Riverside International Raceway. For Ricky Rudd, I imagine his heart right now is in his throat. He's feeling ecstatic about all this. I imagine that Richard Childress is just telling him, calm down, be careful, bring it around one more time. You've done a fine job at this point. Don't gamble. Just take it easy.
Just keep it on the table for 1 minute and 25 seconds and your first victory on a road course.
Here he comes. He's a little loose through 9, though, as he moves up on the back of Jimmy Means. The white flag's out. He's starting to take it easy now. He's breaking his rhythm just a little bit. The move by Jimmy Means. He's down into turn 1. Everybody else is still strung out. There may be a battle between car number 90, Vic Brooks, and Kyle Petty in 7 as they battle for a top 5 position. Ricky Rudd, he's through the S's right now. He doesn't appear to be running as quick as he was on the previous laps. He's being quite careful. He's not going to hang the car out there. He's not going to jeopardize anything. For Ricky Rudd can see the dollar signs now. He can smell victory. It's eluded him since he started racing in 1975. He won a race earlier this year at Dover Downs, Delaware, a late model sportsman race as a preliminary to the Mason-Dixon 500. He's down the back straightaway. What a feeling he must have right now. I imagine there's probably a tear running down his cheek because it's taken a long time for the son of Al Rudd to reach victory lane. A beautiful shot now as he comes through the dog leg. He heads for turn number 9. He looks sharp. The Monte Carlo SS, the Piedmont pacemaker, the pride of Chesapeake, Virginia, is on his way. You have to have feelings and emotion for a young driver like this who has persevered and persevered. And he's around for the finish. Harold Kinder waves a checkered flag. He has his hand out of the window for Ricky Rudd. It's his first victory ever coming here at Riverside, California. Second place goes to Bill Elliott. Third place, car number 33, Harry Gant. Fourth will go to Earnhardt. Fifth place looks like Dick Brooks. His crew ecstatic. They're happy. They're overjoyed. What an opportunity and what an emotional moment for this driver coming into victory lane here. They can't hardly believe it, but their driver has brought it home, the winner of the 1983 Budweiser 400. He was Rookie of the Year in 1977. He had finished second 5 times up till today. Currently riding 11th in points. He was second in this race last year. And the amazing thing about it, he went over the $1 million mark in earnings with this race. Finishing in first place, Ricky Rudd. And there's his crew. They're all being congratulated by, of course, all the folks around. This is when it turns into family for these crews along pit lane, for the opportunity to go over and congratulate a driver who's never been to victory lane before. Richard Childress, Kirk Shelmerdine, feeling good. Now the congratulation coming from Bill Elliott in car number 9. Elliott pulls up, and Elliott, can you believe it, has finished second again. 7 times. From the Budweiser 400 in sunny Southern California, we'll be returning in just a few moments with Victory Lane and a very happy Ricky Rudd. Slowly, he comes down Victory Lane. It's over. It's a moment to relax. He made it. He made it into Victory Lane. He's quite happy. His wife, Linda, there. She's happy about it. And Ricky is trying to find his way into victory lane right now. It's a road that you only need to learn one time, but then you know how to go there time and time again. NASCAR officials say, turn this way and head up that ramp for the accolades of victory, the spoils of the war. Certainly no agony for Ricky Rudd. It's all ecstasy here this afternoon at Riverside, California. Scoreboard says that Bill Elliott finished in second place in car number 9. First time he's finished that high here at Riverside, California. And for 33, Harry Gant, a third place honor going his way. And certainly it's going to shuffle around the Grand National point standings as we see 3 drivers do very well here this afternoon at Riverside, California. It was a tight race because of the caution flags that we saw throughout the afternoon that kept the field tight. We had a lot of drivers running in the lead lap in the closing stages of this race. But the pride of Chesapeake, Virginia, Ricky Rudd, takes the honors this afternoon here at Riverside, California.
Richard Childers, this has got to be the happiest day in racing that you have ever had. Your feelings right now?
Well, I'm just thrilled for the whole crew and Ricky and everyone behind us. They've, Piedmont Airlines has stuck with us, when we had bad times, and they're a great sponsor, and A&W Trucking is a co-sponsor, and they've been with us. And it's we got a winning team. We just had a lot of bad luck, and we've had a lot of people who work hard and put it together. Kirk Shelmerdine, the crew chief, he's super.
Will this turn it around for you to feel like, Richard?
Well, we hope so. Racing's tough, and you can't count on nothing from race to race. You just got to go out and race every race individual and do as hard as you can.
Okay, Richard Childers got to be the happiest crew chief here in Riverside, California.
For anyone who's followed the career of Ricky Rudd, it's been a long time coming. He's been second, but he had never won a Winston Cup race, and it had to come so far from home.
Well, Bill, you kind of make that sound like a eulogy or something, but now we're just tickled to death with it, like you say. We've been waiting a long time for this, and just really tickled to death that it's come. It just really hasn't sunk in. It's hard to believe that this Piedmont Airlines A&W Trucking Company car held together all day long. It was the strongest car on the racetrack. The guys back home did a good job on the motors, and we had the car that was the one to beat out there today, but we were just worried about finishing. We broke down the last 3 or 4 races.
Well, the car certainly handled flawlessly for you. It looked like you were taking it easy the final lap or so once you noticed that Darrell Waltrip started dropping back.
Well, really, it was only a few times that I ran the car really hard, and we were really worried about maybe blistering tires. We were pulling a lot of heat on our tire temperatures, and we were worried that we might abuse a tire if we ran it really hard. And after one set of tires, they looked good the last time they pulled them off. I went ahead and ran the car hard for about 10 or 15 laps, trying to keep Darrell behind me. It was shaping up to be a good race. I could see it starting to open daylight in between me and him. Then all of a sudden, I guess he had some kind of trouble, and I just kind of paced around the last couple of laps to finish it.
Well, Linda, how do you feel about Ricky finally making it home first?
It's fine with me. We can do it a lot more times.
Well, I know you're looking forward to visiting Victory Lane again. Riverside, California, home of the Budweiser 400, and this one was for you, Ricky.
Well, thank you. Thank the Budweiser crew, for the whole Budweiser people for putting this race on.
Our congratulations to Ricky Rudd and his victory here in the Budweiser 400 at Riverside, California. Well, I guess that concludes our day here at Riverside, California, Lauren.
Well, you know, Bill, we talked all day about Ricky, and he was challenged by the old pros, by Bobby Allison, and by the current champion, Darrell Waltrip. And Ricky had the rhythm. We talked about it. He had the car working. He seemed to be able to do it, and everyone came up and challenged him. But Ricky had it. It was his day, and we're just very proud. He's going to be a great Budweiser winner here today.
Riverside, California, the Budweiser 400. For Lauren St. Lawrence and Pat Patterson, I'm Bill Hennessy.